Happymailqueen. So today I thought I'd do a tutorial. A couple of you guys asked for a tutorial on how I make my shakers. So there's a lot of tutorials out there, but I'm just going to show you guys, since you guys requested, how to make these shakers. And on another video, I will try to do my pom-pom tutorial. So for this tutorial, you are going to need your die cutting machine, big kick, Cuttlebug, whatever you have. So I have my big kick out already right here. You're going to, based on whatever die you have, or whatever die you decide to use, of course you're going to use your cutting plates. I'm going to use different dies. So I also have my what is this called? It's the Tim Holtz base tray for the movers and shapers dies. I have my magnetic precision plate base here. Sorry. That just makes things, and then of course your multi-purpose platform, or whatever platform you have. Okay, so I'm going to use several dies. So to make a shaker, you can use a die like this one here. This is specific to, it's actually a shaker, a cupcake shaker die. So it is designed specifically to make shakers. As you can see, this part here already makes the frame for you for the top of the cupcake, and that's where you fill in your sequins. And this die, actually, you can do a cupcake or a snow cone. And this is the kit that I had bought, which is the Queen & Company. I forgot, is it a cupcake sweet treat themed die set? You could also, if you don't have one of those shaker dies, you could also use any of your nesting dies, like this one here. Okay, and nesting die, I mean, you have the same shapes in different sizes, and that way you can use two of them to create your window or frame. Okay, so any nesting die, that you can be a circle die, whatever you have. On this tutorial, I'm also going to try to do a shaker just using any die that you have, any shaped die. This one here is, again, the movers and shapers die right here. And this one is called Mini Heart Set, and I'm using this one here because I love that primitive heart shape. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll do the one that's the easiest, which is your shaker die. So I'm going to put my platform. For these metal dies, you do want to use some kind of a hard surfaced platform, or I mean plate. Like this precision plate, I love this, using this, and it's wonderful for these kind of thinlit dies because it cuts things so super easy. So you are gonna need some foam, and what I've been using lately, instead of the sticky foam, I've been using this foam. This is a foam that I had gotten from Hobby Lobby, I believe, and it comes in a big sheet of a 12 by 18, and it's the 3mm one. Okay, so you want to use the thicker foam die. You can go a little bit thicker than this, it will cut through, but I'm using this one. Okay, and this is only 99 cents, so it is cheap. So sometimes it does get costly when you're buying the adhesive foam tapes. Okay, you're also going to need some cardstock, so whatever pattern cardstock you want to use, or you can also use glitter paper, and I like using glitter paper for my shakers. As you guys can see here, that's what I used for these two. Okay, just for the top. All right, Okay, so first let's go ahead and use the cupcake. So hopefully I'm in frame here. So what I'm going to do is I've already cut my piece here. I'm going to go ahead and, oops, sorry. It would be, oh, and just to let you know, if you're using this, then you don't need both of this plate. You just need one, okay, because that's your sandwich right there. It's this one, your cardstock, your die, and then this plate. Okay, so we're gonna run that through. Okay, so bear with me because I usually don't do tutorials. Hopefully though, by the end of this tutorial, you will be experts at making these. Okay, so as you can see here, it didn't fully cut. Oh yeah, it did. But I don't think it fully cut because this one is very thick. So you might have to do a couple of passes. This is a chunky glitter too, so that's probably why it didn't cut through the first time. Okay, so it should have cut it, and you can just check in the back here if that's going to pop out easily. Okay, and so this little piece here, you can save this, of course, because you can still use it, but this is the piece that you want. Okay, hopefully I'm in frame. Am I in frame? Yes, I am. All right, and that is your top top piece. And then you also want to cut your foam, okay, exactly like this piece, because that's going to go on the bottom. And that's going to make your little well that you fill with your sequins. So we're going to run this through once again. And this one should cut pretty easily because it's foam. So one pass is good. Okay. And there is your foam piece. Okay. So, of course, you can use the kit, and it does come with that piece already, and it already has the acetate and the adhesive. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're cutting our foam. Okay, and that's basically gonna layer over like this. Okay. Now, for the other piece, though, for the back, which is this one right here, I found the best way to do that is if you just, well, we're going to cut that later, actually. But what you can do is you can do this, and you can, actually, let's see. You can turn it over the other way, and you can trace it so you have that back piece. And yeah, that's one gripe I have about this die, is that they didn't have the back piece. And I think it's because it's designed to create quick and easy cards where you're not cutting that back piece because you're just laying the actual shaker on a card. So you would cut this through like so, which this is probably going to be a little bit bigger, so you might have to do a little bit more fussy cutting at the end. Hopefully I'm cutting this okay and I'm in frame. Yeah, for this particular die, I don't know, they just designed it this way. But it's easy to cut, as you can see. You know, it's nothing too difficult. The shape is not too difficult to cut. So, and especially if you're doing something easy like a heart, you know, it doesn't have to be too precise. It's an easy shape to cut. Okay, so there you go, and that's going to be your piece. So far so good, and that's how it's turning out. So as you can see, it's a little bit bigger, so I think I'm going to have to make it even bigger. I mean, smaller. But, okay, so I got cut off somehow. I don't know why my camera turned off. So anyway, I was cutting this piece here and I did make it a little bit smaller. So the best way to do that is actually line it up with this instead of lining it up with the die, because it does create it a little bit bigger. So you just line it up with your die cut like this and then cut the back. Okay, then cut it. All right, or I'll show you a different way to do it, which is going to be easier if you're making a whole bunch of these. Okay, but I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so that's your first piece there. Now, let's also cut another one. So using your nesting die, okay, which would be this one right here, you would do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over. Again, take my acrylic plate here. Now remember, this is really thick. If it's just a regular non-chunky glitter, you probably don't have to run it this many times. Okay, I'm just going to bring it back here so I can get to it. Okay, so like I said, this one is a pretty chunky glitter, so maybe this wasn't the best glitter paper to use for this tutorial. But normally, if it's just regular cardstock, you would just run this once through and it's cut. Okay, but that's how you create your little frame. All right, and then of course you'd make a bunch of these, and then for the base part, of course, you'd take this part off. Okay. Oops, actually I need that back. Whoops, I forgot to cut my foam. So you'd want to cut your foam first. Let's just make sure that that lines up correctly so my foam is exactly the same. Okay, so pop that piece out again. Let's cut our foam. Of course, foam is easy to cut. One pass through is all you need. And believe me, you don't want to cut too many times. I mean, you know, pass back and forth, because you don't want to stretch out your foam. That's just a tip, because it will stretch out, and you don't want that. And of course, you could always cut the sides a little bit if it's stretched out. So that's not too bad. Okay, so that's how you would use your nesting die. Okay, and then for the acetate piece, and the other one, the back piece, you'd have to remove this part. Okay, and make sure you have this the right side. Oh, let's just cut that. Since that's really thin, I think I can pretty much cut that also with my foam. So you can just do one pass here. Oh wait, sorry, I don't even need the foam. What am I doing? I just need this for my back, my backing. Okay, sorry. Blooper. We'll see, I might edit that part. Okay, so there you go. There's your piece. There's your piece here. So we're going to set this aside for a sec. Again, all we're missing is the acetate. Okay? But we're going to do this all at once. It's easier that way. Okay, so that's using the nesting die. Okay, now, what if you don't have a nesting die? And all you have are these dies. Just a shape die. You know, it could be just like a regular die like this or like this. Well, there is a way. Okay. Ooh. Sorry, I think I got a splinter. How did I get a splinter? Okay, so you're gonna have to change, of course. I'm gonna leave this plate. I'm gonna get my base. This one here, because that's what you need for this kind of die, because it's that magnetic base. Okay, and then I need this piece. This is a pretty strong die. Well, no, I'll just cut it separately. All right, so again, you put this over and you cut that through. Wait, okay, you have to remember with these dies, it's not this way because it's actually gonna cut this way. Turn it over. Okay, only once around, once through, because that one's a really good die. Okay, so there's your middle piece. You can save that. And there's your frame. Okay, so the way I do this is you can put this back, okay, and you can trace this, and that's how you can create your, or you can just wing it and just, you don't really have to do this. And that will create your, oh, that didn't even come out right. I guess I didn't have it lined up. Let's see. Sorry, one more time. I'm actually going to want that a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to want that a little bigger. Okay, so what you can do is do it this way. That way it stays put. It doesn't move because it's magnetic. Do it that way. I did do this before of course I did this tutorial. It's just that I kind of freehand cut it. You can freehand cut it however you want to do it, but I'm going to pause for a sec, you guys, because I have a splinter and it's really hurting. Hold on one sec. Okay, so we're going to line this up like so. Put it on our magnetic plate, trace it, which I already did, and then I'm just going to cut. Or you can just wing it like I do. I think I just winged it. So this is what you can do. You can just leave like a 1/4 inch. It's just like when you're fussy cutting your images or something. You're going to leave, instead of 1/8 of an inch, you're going to do like a 1/4 inch around. If you want to be precise, again, you can trace in the back. I just prefer to do it this way, since I know how to do it this way. I did play around with it before I did this tutorial. So you see how you can just create your own shaker this way? Yeah, it's really not that hard. So, you don't have to buy one of those shaker dies. But it is a good investment if you plan to make a bunch. But there is a way just to do it with a regular die, okay? I'm just letting you guys know this is the whole point of the tutorial. So, okay, so let's cut this part. Okay, so you want to cut your foam. Oops. Let's bring back that base plate. Ew. Okay. Bring back that base plate here, put our sandwich through, and cut. Okay, so there's that piece, and there's this piece. So, so that your pieces really line up, what you can do is do this. Actually, I think it's more this way. And sometimes it leaves a little indentation. You can follow that too. Do you see that? So you can easily cut it. But for me, just to be more precise, I'm just going to line it up this way. And sometimes with this, you do have to kind of, you know, fiddle with it. Make sure you hold that on nice and tight so that it doesn't move. And your piece is not lining up. So this is just one way to do it. However you want to do it, you can trace it and then cut. That works too. Whatever's easier to do. Okay, so we want to keep lining this up here. Let's just cut that little piece off that's dangling. Better to cut it a little bit bigger than smaller. Okay, I think it's okay. I don't want to cut it too small. Okay, sorry. It's kind of hard to do this on camera here. It's hard for me to hold on to it. Okay. Like so. Again, you can do some adjustment later. Alright, so not bad, right? Just has to line up. I think that part's a little too much and this part is a little too big here, so I'm going to trim it just a little bit. I don't know why it stained it here too, I don't know. I think my dye stained this. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's actually just the foam underneath. Is it this way? Better? Yeah, I think that way. Okay, so, oh, sorry. Okay, so once you've cut all your pieces, now you want to glue your acetate. You want to glue the top part of your frame. So you're going to take all the top parts, all these, and you're going to glue it down to your acetate piece and then cut it. I found this is easier. Sorry guys, this is the second time I'm doing this video because this part of the video because my camera keeps turning off. I think there's something wrong with it. So this is what I do. And so I will just let that dry. And lately, instead of my usual glue, I've been using glossy accents. I decided that with these shakers, I think I'm liking using glossy accent better right now because it's not bulky at all. And it doesn't seep out so much. I don't know, you can use both, but lately, I don't know why, I've just been using glossy accent. So there you go. Okay, just kind of, don't put too much glue, but just kind of smooth that out a little bit just to make sure that it's actually adhered down. Okay. And my frame, this is about how much glue I put. And if it seeps out a little bit, just, you know, try to wipe it off, because you don't want, you know, globs of it on your acetate. Alright, and I just try to maximize my acetate by just gluing it as close as possible to the other pieces. Okay, so so to me, if I'm doing a bunch of shakers, this is the easiest way to do it, because then I can just cut, glue the acetate pieces, and while that's drying, I'm working on the other part. Okay, so normally even I don't know, just for the sake of the tutorial, I did cut these back pieces, but normally I would also just leave it as a sheet, you know, the back piece, and then glue this on and then cut around it. That's what I had been doing, if you know, because it's easier. Okay, so for this piece, you want to make sure you glue this down also. And before, I was also using my Fabri-Tac for this part here, but I found that glossy accents work as well, so then I'm not switching back and forth with my glue. Okay, so you want to do that and just kind of line that up. So with this piece, of course, I cut this with the nesting die, so it is pretty perfect on there. So that's always nice. And then what I do is, before I secure this, before I let this dry, I will also take this top piece with the acetate, oops, I can't even, and make sure that actually lines up before it dries. In this case it does, but if it doesn't, then I can kind of manipulate this back a little bit, you know, more forward. I manipulate this because, again, this foam part does stretch a little bit, and I'll show you. So continuing on this piece here, I'm just going to, again, glue, put a little glossy accent on there. Just kind of take off a little bit of the excess on there. And for this part, I actually just glue it on the paper, the base. This is our base, and then cut it afterwards. Okay. And again, before I let that dry, I will just make sure that it actually lines up, because I really hate when it doesn't line up. And this one, I think it does. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. So for that one, and then for this piece here, I will glue it since I cut this already. Just hold on to it like that. So we'll see. Hopefully the glossy accent holds, because like I said, for the acetate pieces, sometimes I would also use like score tape or the red line tape, but I'm trying this out and see if just glossy accent itself works. And I think so far so good. Seems to be. Now you see if some of it's seeped out, I would just get like one of my tools and you know, just kind of scrape that off, so that doesn't dry with a big glob of glue on there. Of course it does dry pretty clear, but okay. And anyway, it's on the inside too, so it's not so bad. But if anything seeped through here, then I'd kind of want to clean that up. Okay, so then let's just line that up with our top piece just to make sure that I don't have to manipulate that. Not too bad. I think I am going to move this forward just a little bit. Okay. I think that's a little better. Okay. Then I just let that dry. Okay, so in the meantime, this is probably dry already. And as you can see, it's pretty much adhered on there. See that? And again, it's not bulky. So you want to cut these pieces off. So I will just cut. And again, if you do have, you know, the base die, then you could also cut your acetate pieces with your die, but like in this case, I just made this frame, so I do have to cut it. But with this one, I guess I could have cut my acetate piece with a die. But I just find that even if I cut it with a die, sometimes I still have to, when I glue it down, everything down, I still have to cut a little excess off. So sometimes I just do it this way. I don't know, I think it's just faster for me. Especially when it's just a simple shape like a heart. It's not hard to cut. Okay, there's one piece. Let's see, so it still comes out very nice, even though you don't, you know, have the nesting die. I think this still comes out pretty darn good. It's not like a perfect heart, but you can't really tell, right? That I didn't use a frame heart die for this. I don't think you can. Okay. So I hope this is recording. I'm having trouble with my camera. I don't know why. It's been getting really hot, you know, temperature wise. I don't know. It's heating up, so I think there's something wrong with my phone. I am using the S7 from Samsung Galaxy phone. I so miss my Note. I prefer the Note. And once that new Note comes out, I'm going to get another Note, I think. Because I miss my Note. My Note 7. Okay. So there's your piece. Alright, so now we are just going to assemble. So we're going to take this here. So get your sequins mix that you like. I like using these Heart Recollections Chunky Glitter. So I just put a little bit in there. Just mix it however you want to. I also use seed beads. I don't know if you can see, but there's gold and pink seed beads in there. And also some gold glitter from Michaels, the heart ones. So whatever mix that you like to use. Okay, and then I just take a spoon, whatever spoon you have, and just put some in there. And try not to fill it up too much with these bigger, these balls, because then it doesn't shake. I like mine with a lot of movement, so. Okay, and then you're just gonna, actually what I do is I put glue on this piece. instead of on the acetate. So try to get that glue on there pretty good. Try to get it as close to the edge as possible there. And then I'll do this. Okay. And then I just let it dry. And you just want to make sure that that's really on there. Okay, nice and flat. Just to create that nice seal. Okay, because sometimes it does lift. So what you probably want to do is just kind of press down a little bit. Not too much because you don't want the glue to seep. Or what you can do is just put something kind of heavy on top of there, like a book. Okay. Or maybe your platform, just put a book like that. And then let it dry. And, you know, I don't know, half an hour probably I would think would be good. Just make sure, you know, see how it moves a little bit. Make sure it doesn't, just make sure it doesn't move. I actually fiddle with it a little bit. Once I think it's pretty dry, then I'll put something like, just put it right.